Right now, blackouts are not only causing disruptions, but massive damage as well. This includes disruptions to the cold chain, which is keeping produce refrigerated through the supply chain. So let's find out if retailers can claim for loss of profits during a blackout from Peter Nkhuna. He's from the Ombudsman for short-term insurance. Mr. Nkhuna, thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. Just first of all, have you gotten any people writing to the Ombudsman for short-term insurance, complaining about not being able to actually get their claims?
Good morning still, Masego, and good morning to the viewers. Yes, we do get complaints related to damages suffered as a result of the power surge incidents, which are also related to power outages that we have been experiencing.
So what do people normally complain about? Because obviously, as the insurer, it's not really it's not your fault that there are so many blackouts that happen during so many hours of the day. So I'm just wondering, when people do write to the Ombudsman, exactly who do they want to blame and who are they complaining about?
Well, ordinarily what you'd have is that somebody has a policy that covers them, or they think the policy covers them for that particular loss. They put in a claim with the insurance company, and either you will find that the insurance company pays out less than what the complainant expected, or it refuses to pay out completely. And then due to that dissatisfaction, the insured person would then approach our office for assistance to see whether the decision by the insurance company is correct or fair.
And in terms of the complaints that you're saying you are receiving as the Ombudsman's office, I'm just wondering, has it increased in the past couple of days due to the fact that we've been seeing the rolling blackouts escalated?
It wouldn't. If one has an understanding that the process that these matters would take is first that you would suffer the particular loss, lodge your complaint with your insurance company. The insurance company then has to investigate, make a decision, and only once all of that has happened would one be in a position to say, I am now unhappy and I'm going to approach the Ombudsman. There will always be a lag between those that get decisions that are not very favorable and them approaching our office for assistance. So it wouldn't be that because the load shedding happened this week, in the same week we would then be getting an increase in complaints. The likely increase will be much later than that.
So I'm assuming that maybe the Ombudsman's office will be receiving a bit more complaints in a few weeks' time, because in the past few months we've experienced stage 4 and stage 6 load shedding. But what would be your advice to those customers? I mean, for instance, I know that insurance companies are obviously allowed to increase premiums and access, etc. But is it fair for them to be increasing now that, of course, they see that there might be more damage to people's household stuff during this time because of load shedding? Is it fair for them to then increase the prices due to that?
That's a bit of a difficult one for me to answer. I think the best answer that I can give is it's not the first time that we're experiencing load shedding and power outages. And when we first had the experience of load shedding, a lot of insurance companies realized then that this was too much of a risk for them. And some then removed the cover completely from their policies. Others started limiting it, and yet others thought more about it and had better provisions for it. So it depends really on particular insurance companies' appetites and how well they think they can manage the risks. So a lot of the changes have already happened. I think for now, it probably would be a little bit too late, both from the perspective of the insurance company and the the consumer, in that the rules of the game have sort of already stabilized, because there's an understanding of what load shedding entails, the risks that are involved, and you will find that more often than not, the insurance companies have already worked that into their risk profiles and risk assessing models, so that the relevant premiums are already in there, the relevant provisions in terms of limitations, etc., are already there. It's not very likely that you'd get an insurance company at this stage still making those changes, and it probably won't be fair if this were to happen after somebody has already suffered a loss, because changes are supposed to happen before and must be communicated to consumers long in advance, so that they can make the relevant changes if required to do so.
All right, and just lastly, Mr. Nkhuna, obviously your office is to protect the consumer from possible defrauding or illegal activities by the short-term insurer. So what would be your advice if somebody is watching you right now and wants to take out insurance? What would you advise them in terms of what they look out for, questions they should ask, etc.?
Well, I don't know if we would be speaking specifically with regards to the risks that attach to load shedding and power outages, or in general, but maybe I think both. In general, the best way is ask as many questions as possible, read your policy, have a proper understanding of what it is that you're covered for and what you're not covered for. What are your own expectations in terms of what the insurance company requires you to do, so that you don't fall foul of the provisions of your policy, and you are therefore able to benefit when you do suffer those losses, and you can successfully claim.
All right. Thank you very much for your time here on All Angles. That was Peter Nkhuna of the Ombudsman for Short-Term Insurance. All right. On to this now.